You're listening to the Luxe Lounge Podcast, the official podcast of Urban Luxe Real Estate. And now, here are your hosts, Joe and Dave.
Hey, Dave, it's time for another Luxe Lounge Podcast.
What's happening, Mr. Pascali?
I thought we'd have fun today. I thought we would talk about some of our blunders in real estate. Now, I've been doing this for 24 years. I have made my mistakes. And unfortunately, when you make a mistake in real estate, it could cost somebody a house. It's definitely going to cost some money every single time. And how we take care of those things is part of the story. And talk about our skill levels as realtors. To us, they're kind of funny stories. But again, somebody probably wrote a check to get out of it. And most people don't see this because we don't tell our clients when problems happen. We tend to just try to fix them. And I wanted to start with one of your recent ones.
Yeah, well, which one? We got two in the last 30 days.
The one where she didn't really want to work. The other agent was really not jumping up and down to work with you again.
Oh, that one. Okay. So we go under contract on a house, and mind you, there's multiple offers. The first buyer bails on this house. They come back to us. We give them the number that they want. You know, we do our inspections, and there's a couple things, and we're going to remodel the whole house anyway. So we're not really worried about a leaky toilet or faucet or this and that. And so, you know, the ACs were all really old. The pool needed to be replastered. Just kind of stuff we didn't really plan for. So we asked for $20,000, and we did this in a price reduction of $10,000. And a seller concession of $10,000. Now, the seller concession puts the $10,000 back into the buyer's pocket. So if the buyer had to come to the table with $100,000 to close, they only have to come in with 90 now. And so we send over our BINSR, and that's our, essentially request for repairs. And we send over an addendum asking for exactly what we want. Hey, we want this $10,000 price reduction, and we want this $10,000 seller concession. Well, the agent, who's been in the business for a long time, decides to give us a response that's different to what we asked for, and also sends back the addendum that we signed as well. So she's hounding me for a couple of days. When are you going to respond? When are you going to respond? And what she didn't realize was she had actually, by signing that addendum, she agreed to give us the $10,000 price reduction and the $10,000 seller concession. And we, by not responding to her, we just are going with the terms of the contract, and we're going to move forward. Well, this all starts to sink in, and she realizes, hey, I should have never had them sign that addendum. They're not going to do that. And so they don't really have a choice. They've signed that addendum. And so the settlement statement comes out, and guess what, Joe? She's got $15,287 being credited back to her sellers because she messed up.
Call that commissionectomy.
Yeah. That's probably one of the bigger ones I've seen, other than the other one that we had.
And again, these are funny because they're not happening to us, but you're relying on your agent. I guess the thing we want to bring up is we have a fiduciary duty to act on behalf of our client, not on the other client. Now, we want to be fair to the entire public, but we do have a fiduciary to our client. So your fiduciary was to protect your client's interest, and you did.
100%.
And that agent just either made a mistake or didn't have the. She was in the business so long. I'm assuming she just made a mistake, and that happens. But it's a $15,000 mistake.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. It's not one that and when her and I even talked about it at the final walkthrough, she's like, "Well, I'll never make that mistake again." I was like, "Of course not. You won't. That's who's going to burn $15,000 and not realize how they did it."
Now, I have to say, she's still a good agent because she didn't pass the cost off to her client and try to cover herself and make something up. She ate the cost.
Correct.
So if she was in this room right now, I'd shake her hand. She did a good job of protecting her client. Still, she just had to take care of it herself.
Yeah, and it's a bummer. And I think, the way that I look at it is ever since you and I have opened up Urban Luxe, and we're now to, almost 60 agents, I just can't tolerate stupidity from other agents that makes our industry look bad.
Yeah, I got it. In Arizona, you can get licensed in about a crash course of 2 weeks on $1,000, and you can be a realtor. The point of entry for our industry is very low. There's a lot of realtors. I have no idea. What do you think the number is right now?
For the amount of
realtors,
oh, it's probably like 67,000 or something like that in the state of Arizona.
Kind of, the joke is when you get pulled over by a cop and he asks for your driver's license, you try to give him your real estate license because everybody's got one of those and not everybody's got a driver's license. So a lot of realtors, you got to really be careful who you're working with. Make sure they've gone through enough transactions. It's a very complicated business. Newer agents make mistakes. I'll talk about a mistake I made, so I'll throw myself under the bus. This is years and years ago. Hopefully never make that mistake again. But I had 3 offers in front of me, negotiating all 3 of them. I represent the seller. I've got 3 buyers' office. This is during the boom, so we same kind of market we're in now. And I'm negotiating back and forth and back and forth. Let's say I've got offer 1, 2, and 3. I'm on the phone with all 3 of them. I get down to, hey, we're accepting offer number 2. Accept it. My client's very happy with me. We kind of blended the 3 in our heads a little bit and realized we just gave away, for the best offer, a washer dryer. And I didn't mean to. It was the only contract of the 3 that asked for the washer dryer. And I didn't really put that on my spreadsheet when I was negotiating the 3 and keeping them all equal. Now, did I do the best job for my client? Got them the best price. And when they moved, I had to give them, I think I gave them a Lowe's gift card so they could buy their new washer dryer in their new house because they had to leave the old one there because by contract we had signed that we're giving that away. My mistake, I bought a washer dryer, and it's not the only one I've ever bought.
No, and those things are going to happen. I had one, and the contracts, there's so many gray areas, right? And even like if you're looking in the luxury homes, and this is actually one of my very first deals. I don't know if you remember, the bathroom mirrors were gone when we went to go do the final walkthrough. I represented the buyer. Well, the mirrors were hung just like a picture. We didn't request all the other pictures that were hung on the wall stay. And what happens, you get into these like luxury houses where somebody maybe goes and spends $50,000 on a bathroom mirror. They're going to take it with them because it's not attached to the wall. It's literally just hanging like a picture. And that was one that I had to learn. And luckily, these were only a couple of, $30 mirrors that we had to go and buy. But it was one of those things that I never forget, even on that $70 one. Hey, you know what? Got to pay attention to this stuff when you're writing these offers. Yeah.
And I'll bring that up as far as education for a seller. Again, this isn't a funny story, but if there's something you don't want to give to your buyer and it's attached to the house, you better take it off early or make sure that it's not conveying not only in the MLS listing, but on the purchase contract. Because you might say spa in the backyard doesn't convey to the buyer, which means I'm taking it with me, and it might be all over everything. But if it's not in that purchase contract, that the buyer gets to take it, that the seller gets to take it, buyer wants it.
100%.
And agents think that by putting the multiple listing, that doesn't convey, they're covering their client. They're not. That's deemed reliable but not guaranteed. This is the actual verbiage. So you have to make sure that purchase contract is very comprehensive. We have a great purchase contract, super buyer friendly in Arizona, really mimics the contract they have in California, covers a lot of things, but now they just had to update it again. It came out today, right? There was a change on
that was a listing agreement for today. I think there's some other changes coming up though.
But that at least lets a seller know that now electronics, security electronics, like I think it's the Ring doorbells, that type of stuff.
Anything that makes your house a smart house.
Okay.
Is conveying with the property.
Yeah. And a lot of people want to take their Ring doorbell with them and whatnot. And they think they can because they can just pull that thing off the wall to recharge it. But now sounds like it goes with the house.
Yeah. And that's all good. I mean, again, all stuff to pay attention to going forward and making sure that you're representing your client properly.
And it's a funny market when there's lots of inventory. You're willing to give away everything with your house just to get a buyer. And now when there's 30 buyers for your house, people don't want to give them anything.
Not even repairs. Not even repairs. Not even an opportunity for repairs.
Some other just, wacky stories. I'll give up one of mine where the agent had done their inspection. They had found that our roof was a little old. Their buyer on the 11th day asked for a new roof. It's about $11,000 back in that time, or $8,000, something at that point.
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think it was.
And the agent gives it to me on the 11th day. Well, we have a 10-day inspection period here in Arizona, and she miscounted her days. So when she called me on the morning of the 11th day and said, "Hey, Joe, I'm sending over that inspection report," I said, "Great, that's perfect." And then I said, "Well, why are you sending it over today?" And she explains to me, "Well, there's an inspection period." I said, "Oh, no, I understand there's an inspection period here in Arizona, but you missed it. And you just took an $8,000 class. What did you learn?"
100. And so for those of you guys who understand, you get one bite at the apple when you're submitting this buyer inspection notice. And if you forget something or you submit it on day 3 of your 10-day inspection period, you don't get those days back.
Yeah. And if you submit it on any time after the 10th day, you've just lost the opportunity. And in Arizona, it means you're moving forward without repairs.
Correct.
So again, that seller looks like I think she ate about half of that one. And I think
you were nicer than you needed to be.
I fixed everything else, even though, again, I just couldn't see after. And again, it wasn't my choice. I went to my client. I let my client make the decision, gave him all the facts. He said, you know what? I want to help them out with my home and I'll fix everything else they were going to ask for. But that roof is beyond what I feel comfortable paying for. So I think the agent had to eat part of that. And they should. They should when they make a mistake. Again, we're all going to make mistakes. We're all human. Just what do you do when that happens? Because we have, when we talk about blunders, I think one of the first big blunders I saw, I was showing property, 3 gentlemen come in town to work for a corporation here in Arizona. And I ring the doorbell and no one answers. I use a lockbox. I open the lockbox key. The blunder the agent made was they didn't tell their client I was showing the home. So when she came out of the bathroom in a towel, we were standing there. Pretty easy forget is to call the client and say, oh, by the way, you're having a showing tonight. But that agent didn't. And it was embarrassing for all.
I could imagine. Do you remember the one that you had in Paradise Valley that the family was squatting?
Oh, yeah.
Unknowingly?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I said someone to show the house. They saw a family, kids in the pool, parents making dinner. Called me and said, hey, I thought this house was vacant. I said, it is. They said, not today. It's not. And we had to call the police and there were squatters in the house. And that was a house that on today's market is probably worth
$2.5 million.
$2.5 million. Yeah. Nice house. Famous architect. But strange little thing. So we come across that stuff all the time. Boy, I remember times I'd accidentally let the dog out and was running down the street in my suit trying to find some dog that wasn't my dog. Didn't know was in the house. Wasn't supposed to be in the house. So I was kind of surprised when I opened that front door. Just a note on the front door saying, we have a dog, don't let it out. It helps the agents out a lot.
100%. When I had this, the other mishap when we were representing the seller about a month ago, they did their repairs and they requested, a credit for a certain amount and we were going to fix everything else. And so we agreed on that document. Hey, we're going to give them the credit. And the agent, I don't know if you're too busy to get your client $17,000, but never made the addendum for us to officially give them that money. And those guys ended up closing escrow without getting the money.
Wow.
It's, really sad to see. But again, I think you got to be able to pay attention to the details or get yourself a good transaction coordinator to, if you're not good with the details, make sure that, these kinds of things don't happen, because this is some serious money that these agents are losing for their people.
And to the general public, again, we have a brokerage, like I said, about 60 people. So we get to actually have lots of communication with our agents. We see what they're doing. We're available 24/7 to actually sit down, hold their hands, look over things. Lots of times they just say, hey, this is the way it looks to me. Do you see any other way this could be construed, written, so that I can't get in any trouble or protect my client correctly? But some of these firms in Arizona, 6,000 agents. Just running ransack around, and they're typically the cheapest companies out there. And I don't want to name any names, but they don't have the time or ability to really watch what their agents are doing. And a lot of it, brand new agents go right there because it is inexpensive. And a lot of people come into real estate with no money in the pocket, no budget. So they go to the cheapest company. They have no supervision. Even when they ask a question, they're never going to meet face to face with someone or have anybody looking over their shoulder. Just going to be a phone call. So you really want to be careful who you're working with and the kind of support they have. A lot of times you'll still look at a big name brand and you'll think, oh, because they're worth a large international, it means they have more support. Not necessarily. So ask where your agent's from, how long they've been doing
and see what kind of deals they've been doing. You'll be able to tell a very knowledgeable agent in a very short period of time on what you're looking to do. And people that really understand the contract and how to represent you in it. I had one scenario myself. Some friends of mine were buying a house, And the way that it works is, like your stove, your dishwasher, all that stuff's going to convey with the property, but refrigerators don't always convey because they slide in and out, and they can be, for whatever reason, it's just a little bit different. Same thing with the washer and dryer.
Yeah, unless it's built into the kitchen.
Correct. So they had a wet bar that was built in this area that had a wine fridge in it. Wine fridge looked built in when we were there. It wasn't. That thing would just slide right out. So guess what they took with them? The wine fridge.
Was it full of wine?
Yeah, right. And so we go to do the walkthrough, and my client's like, "Where's the wine fridge?" And I was like, "Oh man, we didn't ask for it. I thought it was built in." And the sellers said, "Well, you guys didn't ask for it, so we took it. We would have happily left it if you guys would have just asked for it." So guess what I went and did? Bought a new wine fridge. Because again, those things, they're going to happen.
And again, how your agent handles it. And if they don't have any horror stories, means they haven't done any deals.
Right.
Because we're all due, at one point to make that mistake, especially when we're busy. And again, the busier you are, usually the busier you are, the better you are, but also more stuff you have to look at. So we want to make sure we manage those dates. Also, don't let your agent make all the decisions. A lot of people say, "Hey, I got 5 offers. I'm just going to send you the best one to look at." How do you know? Let me know what the other 4 offers look like. Let me review them. Tell me why this is the best offer. Especially when we're busy right now, a lot of agents make the decisions for their clients, and that's where a lot of mistakes happen. Also, one thing that's a big thing right now is agents, buyers love to send you pictures of their family and notes about their family and, videos. And I know you've done a video, but are you breaking HUD? Is that a HUD violation? Are you discriminating? So you really want to be careful with how your agent presents information to you. But the biggest thing is have them explain everything to you and present everything to you and tell you why.
Yeah. It's going to allow you to make a much more informed decision.
Yeah. Because we know a lot of clients just say, "Joe, which one should I take? Dave, which one should I take?" And we know what we would take, and we can convey that to them, but we still have to make sure that you have a buy-in.
100%.
And ask to reject those offers. If you do get let's say you get 10 offers and you pick one, ask to reject the other 9 to prove that you looked at it. That's not happening in our industry right now, and it should, but it tells the buyer, "No, I looked at your offer. Yes, I've rejected it. Don't sue me for any kind of discrimination because I can tell you why I rejected it." You don't have to put that down, but you kind of have notes usually.
Yeah, correct. It's, the notes and the videos and all that stuff can really go a long way in the right scenario. But again, 2 sides to every coin, and you never know where that's going to land on that.
Yeah, and some of it makes a lot of sense. I do want to know what my buyer's situation is, and I want the seller's situation so I can build a perfect contract around them. Where are you moving? When are you moving? Maybe I can give you those dates. Maybe I can give you a lease back. Lease backs are happening a lot right now, and I wonder where those are going to go with people wanting to move in and the blunders that we're going to have with those. Because I guarantee a lot of blunders are being written because we're writing different stuff in the last 2 months than we ever have in our industry into contracts.
Yeah, we're almost having to give money away just for contract acceptance.
Yeah.
Which is, something I've never really seen done. But, I've got a client who's willing to give up $5,000 if they'll just accept his offer.
Yeah. Yeah. So almost so you got the earnest money going non-refundable, waiving appraisals, lease backs for no money, crazy kind of market, but we're having fun with it. We are selling houses. We are protecting our clients, and we have a lot of agents just having the best month ever. Average sales prices are up. If you're a seller right now, you got nowhere to go. That's probably the problem, but we can get you top dollar. And if you're a buyer, you want to make sure you're working with a full-time agent. So I'm going to talk about that really quick. So we talk about blunders. Everybody thinks, well, we got 30 offers. Your job's easy. It actually makes it tougher.
Yeah, because right now we got to vet different lenders. We've got to look at all the different terms at what these people are willing to do. How bad do they want the house? And yeah, we know the house is going to sell, but that's step 1. We got to get it sold. We got to get it to the finish line. And that's not always an easy feat. And stuff can pop up at any given time throughout these transactions. So you got to really understand how bad the buyers want it. Who's the agent? Are they going to be good to work with? Who the lender is? Are they, what are we waiving in terms of inspections, repairs, appraisals, all that stuff? And what does that really mean? What does it mean, for the sellers, and what does it mean for the buyers? Because if the buyers don't really understand and you waive appraisal for them, and now they have to come in with an extra $30,000 because the house didn't appraise, that deal's falling apart.
Yeah, and they're not very happy with you. And you might have made earnest money non-refundable.
Probably had to.
Yeah. Now they're losing something.
So again, it's really, really understanding, the speed of this market. And again, it's not one that we want to keep going like this, but to be a good agent, you got to be able to adapt to what's happening to get these deals closed.
Yeah. And again, you have to have a team around you, have professionals that are going to be able to get this done for you, knowing what to waive, knowing what the verbiage means. I'm seeing agents right now not showing homes. They're just writing offers. So they're not taking the time to bring their client through because they don't want to waste their client's time. I don't want to accept an offer from somebody who hasn't seen the house because the rate of cancellation on those is over 50%. So do I really want to sell it to recommend to my seller, hey, you should take this offer for somebody who's never seen your home? Because I know there's 50% chance they're going to back out when they do walk in. You sold a home 2 weeks ago, came in with a crazy price before they saw it. How'd that one go? Did they actually see the house?
No. I've got, fortunate, I've got a really great database of investors in San Francisco. Most of the houses that they buy, they've never seen, but they just trust me. So if I say, hey, we should buy this one, they know that, okay, let's just buy it. This one was weird. They were listed at like $725. We offered $685. It had been on the market for a while, so we knew it was overpriced and the house needed to be remodeled. We were expecting a counter back. A listing agent called me and says, hey, she's not going to sell the house anymore. We're like, oh, well, that's kind of weird. 4 days later, it's listed with a different agent for $950. Guess what? It's still on the market and they're doing price reductions because it didn't sell at $725. It's sure not selling at $950.
We're seeing a lot of that. So we're going to go, I want to go over something really quick. Coming soon. Coming soon is a new feature to us in the last year because Zillow is doing coming soon. The MLS felt like they need to match that and do a coming soon, which means this is a house that's going to be on the market soon. But a lot of agents are using that to test the market or try to get their own buyer. So what they're doing is they're putting a house on the market at coming soon with the intent of going live if they can't sell it themselves in that meantime. So they'll be coming soon for a couple of weeks. We see some entire brokerages exploiting that. And what they'll do is I'll list it for coming soon for a whole month. They won't let other agents see it. They won't let other agents write offers on it. What they're trying to do is double side that, which means represent both the buyer and the seller and get commission on both sides. So it's kind of unfair to the public. I'm not a huge fan of coming soon. But if you are working with a buyer, with an agent and you're trying to buy, make sure they're not just showing you the active listings, they're showing you the coming soons also. And a lot of agents will say, well, they're not even showing that one for a week. Really? I found that most agents will get you in there if you plead hard enough.
Yeah, and especially, depending on what the sellers are doing, I've actually seen some where they're like, honestly, they only want to be out of the house for the weekend. They're going to go stay in a hotel. We're going to review everything on Monday. And, even I'll fight, like, what's an offer that we can get accepted today? And, a calm and patient seller in this market is going to get everything that they want.
Yeah. But I found that, my strategy right now with my clients, if they do a drive-by, they like everything about it. I get some photos. They'll typically write that offer before they've even seen it, pending them seeing the property. Maybe they're going to have that thing active next week, Friday. Well, we're going to write that offer today, submit that, send that in. So our place is in line already with our offer prior to us seeing that property. But if you are a buyer right now, ask to see the coming soons. You're probably going to get to see them on Zillow or Redfin or whichever portal you like to search on.
Yeah, it's been an interesting 18 months watching this market shift.
Yeah, and it's not sustainable. I'm going to say that right now. People say, are you in a balloon? I don't like to use that word too much because I don't know if it's going to go down. Balloons burst. I don't know if we're going to burst because we have such low inventory and such high demand of people moving in from other states. But we can't keep going at this rate.
Well, just imagine if in 2024, you look back and go, man, I can't believe you bought in 2021. You got such a good deal.
Yeah, that might be happening. But we have a third of the active inventory over $1 million. I've been in Arizona so long that I think it took me 4 or 5 years to do my first $1 million listing. We just didn't have them. No one would pay $100 a foot back when I got in real estate 24 years ago. $100 a foot was a luxury home in Paris Valley. So Dave, you live in Paris Valley. If you saw a luxury home in Paris Valley, price per foot.
Right now?
Right now.
New builds, I know Camden selling for upwards of $1,000 a foot, and they start at a minimum of 6,000 square feet.
Wow.
So minimum $6 million buy-in. If you're looking for something remodeled, you're probably $450 to $700
foot. Wow.
a foot.
That's crazy.
And they're big houses.
Yeah. and they're beautiful. I have to say that the houses they were building when I got into real estate, everything was stucco, red tile roof, not too big because we couldn't air condition it. Now we are seeing $10 million, $15 million luxury homes all over Arizona. There isn't a spot that doesn't have a luxury home market. So you have Paradise Valley, which everybody thinks of, and then you have Silverleaf and DC Ranch, everybody thinks of. You go all the way north to Desert Mountain, gorgeous, a lot of contemporaries up there. But now we have Peoria getting multi-million-dollar homes.
Gilbert.
You have Goodyear with Verrado. You have Apache Junction. People are starting to recognize the views out there and putting up some.
The views are really nice. The last time I was out there, I forgot, like, wow, these are nice views.
Yeah.
But it's still really far.
You got to drive through some trailers to get there. But the builders here are building just beautiful luxury homes, all different styles. Contemporaries go on the market for a minute and they're off. So we're seeing a lot of that, and we are seeing money coming in from other states, crazy amount of money. Not as much Canada with COVID. We're not seeing the Canadians come down as much. We used to kind of live and die by Canadian dollars, but now we're seeing California money flooding in, and we're cheap. I had a client the other day that bought a house, making offers $1.5 million. He had to sell his garage in Palo Alto to afford the $1.5 million house here. That's what he sold his 2-car garage for to his neighbor.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's just crazy. Like, I had to sell my garage to get this. He goes, no, I'm leasing back a space. Can you believe that? I'm like, no, not for the same reason you can't believe it either. It's totally different. But, California prices are crazy. People want to get out of there for all different kinds of reasons. Oregon, Washington State,
Chicago. They look at property taxes here and their mouths just drop. Like, that's it?
Yeah. I mean, I have clients in Illinois that are paying upwards of $60,000 a year for a house that was worth less than $1 million.
That's insane.
Because they're city taxes. They had property taxes instituted by their city on top of their state. And obviously everybody does, but they just drove it completely crazy. Now, nice neighborhood, and the house was not worth that much money because who's going to buy the house for the right price with the taxes that high? They had to sell their house at a discount to offset the taxes that are yearly on that house. They came here, they bought a gorgeous home, invested the same amount of money, and the taxes are about $4,000 a year.
And that's nice.
Yeah. It's just free money at that point. They're like, we can go on vacation finally.
Right.
They could buy a car. Like they could buy their luxury dream car in the 2 years of taxes they're saving. And they're buying a supercar.
It's crazy to think about.
I know. I love Arizona. Just love it. And we can travel from here to anywhere really quickly. So California, 6-hour drive, 1-hour flight. It's not uncommon to pop into Vegas for the night for dinner or go to Manhattan Beach in LA for the afternoon. Now to Mexico extremely quickly. You went to Hawaii.
Yeah, that was nice. 5-hour flight there, 6-hour flight home.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you can't beat that. So we're a hub for that. Our airport's great. We just redid one of our terminals, luxury restaurants inside the terminal. So people used to go to Atlanta if they had to fly a lot for their job. That was a great hub. Phoenix is being the second hub now. I think it's Atlanta and Phoenix. If you're like a salesman or in a corporation where you have to fly around the world a lot.
Oh, yeah.
We're just an easy place. Our airport's in and out. And most houses here, you're going to be able to get to the airport within half an hour.
Yeah, great freeway systems. They're widening a lot of them, I think, due to the amount of people that are coming in. But traffic's not as bad as it was.
Except for all the California plates. I constantly am almost getting hit by a California driver, just trying to figure out where they are. Or they see a Saguaro and they stop in their tracks. Look at the Saguaro. Well, cool. Well, that's all the time we have this week. Guys, we'll visit with you next week with another episode of Luxe Lounge Podcast. Dave, anything on the way out?
I think you got to do one more sound effect.
Oh, let's see. I can do all of my. Let's see here. Not that one. Okay, so I'm going to stop it after that one. I've got headphones on, and that was not good. So we will talk to everybody next week with Luxe Lounge Podcast. Have a good week. If you're moving to Arizona, give us a call, 602. Well, let's do, what's the company name?
480-359-6519. Urban Luxe Real Estate. Got the best agents in the Valley.
Anybody can help you. Talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Luxe Lounge Podcast, the official podcast of Urban Luxe Real Estate, located in Old Town Scottsdale, Arizona. If you'd like to support the show, please give us a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice, follow the show on Instagram, or subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have questions for Joe and Dave, feel free to write in to luxloungepod@gmail.com. We may talk about your question on the show. If you would like to learn more about Urban Luxe Real Estate, please visit our website, urbanluxre.com, for more information. This podcast was produced by T-Door Productions. Intro music by Doug Maxwell. Outro music by Track Tribe.